Hi, Somerset Hills. My name is Pete Morris. I go to grad school at Centenary University with Colleen. And, we've been talking over the course of the summer about, some of the best ways that teachers are going to be able to transition to this strange environment that we're in coming through in the fall. So in the spring, we all went remote. We all had to learn a lot of these tech tools really on the fly. And as we get into the fall of 2020, I think that we can really harness some of these tools and get as much out of our students as we possibly can. So just a little bit about me. I'm a fifth grade teacher over in Byram. I am currently writing my dissertation on teachers and technology. I think it's a really useful part of being an effective teacher, but I totally get that we're all at different levels with tech. It's one of those tools where we may be comfortable in some ways, uncomfortable in others. Everyone does it their own way, and however much you want to use it in your classroom, it's totally up to each of us as teachers. So I like it a lot. I figured that I would share a little bit about some of the pieces that I like to use in my classroom with you here in a couple of videos. So the first thing that I want to talk about is Flipgrid. So as you can see here, I'm going to get my face out of here after I've introduced myself. As you can see here, we're at the Flipgrid homepage. So before we jump into how to do it, I just wanted to share my thoughts on what I really love about Flipgrid. I think it's really established its own space in the ed tech community. It has become an extremely popular tool among teachers, and from what I've seen, unlike a lot of tools that kind of pop into and out of popularity, they go in vogue and then they leave. Flipgrid has really kind of established its own space, and it seems to want to stay there, which is fantastic. So, what it is, Flipgrid, is essentially a video platform, a video recording platform for teachers and students. And what's great about it is whether you're in class or not in class, it allows your students to have a voice and to be able to, put their face on that voice. It's not just a written response. It allows them to create content and produce content and get that content out there within their classroom. All of our students nowadays, at least my students, um, they want to become YouTubers, and that's kind of the ambition for a lot of our kids because they love having their ideas and their voices shared, um, you know, to put themselves out into the world. That's what they want to do, which is fantastic, and Flipgrid lets them do that. So with Flipgrid, you as a teacher can create different topics and different classes and groups, and we'll go over how to do that in a minute here. Um, and you can allow your students to basically respond to those prompts and participate in conversations online. So that's the idea here. It kind of allows you to have a conversation over the internet through Flipgrid. If it's not possible to do it in class, or sometimes students just prefer to do it this way. So just some of the things that I've used Flipgrid for. As a fifth grade teacher, I am using it this summer to allow my incoming fourth graders to introduce themselves to me and for me to introduce myself to them, which I think is a really useful tool. And again, these kids, they come in, I haven't taught them yet, but with some quick instructions, they can pick this up. We're teaching these digital natives here. They need a little instruction and support and guidance for sure, but they're able to take these tools and use them the right way. And a lot of times teach me how to use them the right way, which is really the coolest part. So that's one way I like to use it. Um, I like to use Flipgrid for reflections, and this is regardless of remote learning, or not. I've done this for a few years now. After different activities or tests or essays or whatever the activity might be in class, I have students reflect on the activity using Flipgrid, and that allows them to kind of, you know, create the reflection at their own pace and really, really infuse themselves into the reflection. They're not standing up in front of the class giving a report, but they can take a computer or an iPad out into the hallway or whatever they may be doing, and have a little fun recording a reflection. I like to have students use Flipgrid for book clubs. You can create different groups for different students and have have students record responses and their thoughts on different books, and then view each other's responses and share their thoughts with each other as well. So really, I mean, there's a million ways to use this. Anything that requires interaction and conversation, Flipgrid is going to be great for it. Again, just before we jump in, I mentioned I really like this tool regardless of whether we're doing remote learning or not. And I think a big part of that is no matter what grade level we're teaching, we're going to have those kids that are always happy to jump up and get in front of the class and share their thoughts, right? Those kids are always going to be there. Um, and they're comfortable and they're confident and they're ready to go. And that's awesome. Those are some great skills to have. We're also going to have those students who may not be the first to raise their hand and may not always be happy to get up and share what they're feeling in front of the class. And that's totally fine too. And what Flipgrid does is it allows those students a lot of times to have a platform that they're a little bit more comfortable with. I've had students create Flipgrid videos where they totally come out of their shell, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how funny this kid was, or how much they had to say. So Flipgrid, again, remote learning, in-person learning, it doesn't matter. It really allows students to have a voice, and we can see that on the screen here. That's kind of their whole thing. So really cool program. It is totally free. It was bought by Microsoft and a couple of years ago, and they basically said, all right, well, we're going to let all teachers use this, all the features of it. No, no free version and premium version. It's all free, which is really, really cool. So yeah, let's jump in. All right, so the first thing that we want to do here is sign up today. It's free. Okay, cool. So you'll notice here I've got kind of a lot going on my homepage. When you sign up for the first time, all it's going to do is just ask you for a couple of pieces of information about yourself. Real easy. Just what's your name, where are you from, and is this your Google account? Just pop through those prompts, and you'll find yourself at the homepage here. All right. So Flipgrid does have a lot to offer, just like any of these platforms do. Some pieces are more useful than others. What we're going to focus on here are kind of the two main parts of Flipgrid, and those are the topics and the groups. So if you notice here, the default screen I'm seeing here, it's the groups tab rather than the topics tab. If anyone watching this is familiar with Flipgrid, they've just updated it this summer, and they used to have what we call grids, and the grids kind of served as different classrooms in a way. They've replaced grids with groups. So the way you want to think about this, your groups, you want to think about like your classrooms. So if you notice here for me, I've got social studies one, I've got fifth grade science and social studies. Welcome to fifth grade. That's like I mentioned before, is some of the incoming students that may want to share a video about themselves. All right, so we're just going to take a look at how to set up some of these video topics and some of these groups. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is set up your class, and your class is your group. That's what we're looking at right here. Okay, you're going to want to set this up. So when you get here, whether you have any or not already, you're going to want to go over to this blue button here that says create a group. Right, so we're going to go ahead and click that. Okay, so now we want to create our group. Let's see. You've got your private and your public settings. Now I'm going to show you this public one. I don't suggest really ever having to use this. This is if you want your grid to be able to be seen kind of outside your school, outside your class. When we're talking about student online safety, that's something that we don't really want to mess around with. So you probably won't need to use that. I will just share I've done a project on Flipgrid where we did kind of like a career day series. So we offered these Flipgrid links out to people that teachers knew that wanted to talk about their career a little bit, and we used that to kind of teach the students about some different careers. It was a really cool project. I share it just because that was really the one time that I've ever used the public setting here. Otherwise, you see down here, public groups are not recommended for classroom use. So just not something that we need to mess around with, right? So if we go to private, we want to make a group name here. So let's see, the group name, you kind of want to stick with what your class is. And they give you some examples here, language arts or hour one. So let's say, I'll call this group 8th grade social studies, right? 8th grade social studies. Then you'll see a join code here. So the join code is a link. That's really what it is. This is the code, but down here, once I create my group, this is going to be the link that I can send to my students, I can keep for myself, that'll take me to the group. If you want to get crazy, you can. You can customize this if different codes are available. So let's see. Morris. Ah. Right, so if I wanted to, call this Morris Social Stud, then my Flipgrid code would be flipgrid.com/Morris Social Stud. So you can kind of get creative. I mean, at this point, a lot of the good ones are taken, as it always goes. So I'm just going to leave this blank, and that'll give me a random code. Okay, so next we want to add our students. Now you're going private, so you're not just going to be able to generate, a link that anyone can use ever, everywhere. What you want to do here, I think the easier way is to go with your student email. And what that means is your students, when they log in with their Somerset Hills email address, that email address basically is their password to get into the Flipgrid. So you don't have to mess around with passwords or specific links or privacy settings. That kind of gives them access and keeps others out. So we'll click student email there. Now you want to add the suffix for your email. So but this, again, this is, like I said before, this is kind of like the password to get in. So for me, I work in Byram. So if I were setting up a Flipgrid here, I would have, anyone with that email suffix at byramschools.org is good, is in. They can access it. But anyone without that email suffix can't. So that's how you kind of ensure that safety. So what you would do here is you would add your Somerset Hills email address, basically everything from the @ sign after, the @ sign and beyond, and that will give your students that security that you need. Again, you can create a password for people, but if you're just creating this, you're just getting going with this, and you want to get your students involved, I think just sticking with the email address is good. Okay, we click next. Now this is only going to show up if you've already got some topics. You can duplicate them for your new class, for your new group, but we're going to go ahead and skip that for now. Okay, cool. So this is our new group. We've created a brand new group. Students can join it. This is the link. Again, there's nothing really there yet. This is just kind of, if you think about Google Classroom, it's kind of like we just set up a classroom. So we haven't posted any assignments yet, but now we have our space. So let's click Go to Group. All right. So here we are. This is our group. We are in 8th grade social studies. You can see there's really nothing going on here yet. We're kind of brand new. All right. And we can, if you want to customize the group a little bit, you can. We're not going to get super into that here, but you can, you can adjust the code. You can adjust everything that you just set up. So, you can mess around with this. You can change your image if you want to go online. Like if I'm doing 8th grade social studies and I wanted to get a picture of the White House as my background, I could just download a picture of the White House and drop it here, and that'll show up. But again, we're gonna stick to kind of the big stuff here, and then the details we can kind of play with as we go. And I can choose any of these adorable little backgrounds. Wow, they've updated these. These are really cute. All right. Ah, cool. All right. Sorry, getting carried away here. Okay, so we've got our group. Again, this is our home base. This is our basically our classroom. All right. So what we want to do now, and now maybe we're thinking about some of those things I mentioned before, like what can I use this for? Okay, so I want to add a topic. And a topic is basically a prompt to get your students sharing and thinking. Okay, so we're going to create a topic. All right, so let's see. In my 8th grade social studies class, let's say this week, I am wondering what my students think about two-party government. We've got an election coming up. That'll be a fun thing to talk about. All right, so I'm going to title this two-party system. And again, this can be, this is where you customize your prompts. So this is great for social studies, obviously, but this is great for every single subject. Let's say you want to have your students share their thoughts on a book that they're reading if you're a language arts teacher. Let's say you want your students, you're a math teacher, and you want them to solve a problem and you want to use Flipgrid for them to explain how they got there. Let's say you're a Spanish teacher and you want to use Flipgrid to have students practice their pronunciation. Um, let's say you're a phys ed teacher and you want students to explain the benefits of how running is good for your heart. Whatever you may be doing, you can fit this into Flipgrid here. So I'm going to call this the two-party system. We're going to make a prompt. Do you feel that the two-party system in the U.S. is good or bad for the country and why? So very open-ended. It lets the students have that voice. All right, so now we get to tweak this a little bit. Again, what I'm setting up right now are the student responses and the settings for that. So I've got my title, I've got my prompt. Now I can set a recording time. So I can make the limit for the recording. If I want this to be quick, like a yes or no answer, I can make the limit 15 seconds. I can change the limit all the way up to 10 minutes. Do I want to listen to 10 minutes on this from every single one of my students? I don't know that I'd have the time for that. So I can adjust this. And again, this is great for our different types of students. We have students that can talk for 10 minutes. We have students that, a 2-minute limit is going to be plenty for them. So I'm going to make this 1 minute, 30 seconds. Here's one thing that you can do, and this is totally up to you. Sometimes I do this, sometimes I don't. This is called video moderation. And what that means is you can set the videos so that you need to approve them. So, take that as you will. Some classes need it for sure. And what that does is it doesn't show the video to any other students or anyone else looking at the group until you've watched it and you've clicked a button that says this is okay. So I can either set video moderation or not. And again, if I set it on, you need to approve it. You'll be sent an email. You don't need to go seeking out videos to try to approve them. As you have students create responses in their Flipgrids, you get emails as the teacher. So they make it as easy as possible for you to kind of monitor as you go. All right, so you can turn video moderation on or not, totally your call as the expert in the classroom. And then you have media here. So you can, if you want to, shine up your Flipgrid prompt a little bit, you can record a video of yourself. So if I wanted to record myself here asking the question, I can. So maybe I want to just put this here, I'll record. Hello students, Mr. Morris here. So today our Flipgrid prompt is going to be, do you feel, based on our discussion in class, that a two-party system is a good thing or a bad thing for our country? So share your answer and share some of the rationale behind that. Can't wait to see your responses. So I'll click next, and then I will, watch that, make sure that that's good. Now here's the part with Flipgrid that my students love the most. Um, at the end of every video that they record, and you just saw me record one, so it's basically the same thing for the students, although it's even easier for them to follow the prompts and record their response. They get to record their video, then they get to take a little selfie to kind of like brand their video. So they're going to take a selfie, and what they can do here is they can put little emojis. See, this is fun. This is the part. I mean, I'm like my fifth graders here. I can get caught up doing this all day. So I'll try to keep it quick here. Um, but I can put little stickers and add to my selfie. So as you can imagine, it doesn't matter if you're a kid or an adult. This is fun. This is cool. So the students definitely see this as a piece to build their engagement in Flipgrid. They can customize it, make it their own, make it funny, whatever they want. And it's just for fun. So they've already done the schoolwork part, right? That's already done. This is just kind of the fun part afterwards. Okay, so here we go. I have created a topic. Again, that video part I just showed you, adding the media, not required. You don't have to do it. That's just totally if you would like to add a little bit of video yourself. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and create my topic. And that generates a link. So this link is all you need to do. You just need to share this link with your students. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you what that looks like. If I copy this link, and again, I can post it to Google Classroom, I can embed it somewhere, I can share it as a QR code, but I just want you to see what your students will see. So I can copy that link. And this will show up for your students. It's going to ask them to join with Google as well. Remember, they have that email address password. That it's not going to let them in without that email address. So they're going to need to make sure that they're on the right account. Like if I signed in with my personal account here, PeteMorris25@gmail, it wouldn't let me in. So I'm going to sign in with my school account. Here's my little video. And if I'm a student here, look how easy this is for me. I can, as soon as this pops up, oh, there's two big old buttons here that I can press to record a response. So your students would record their response. I'm not going to do this again. You just saw me do it. It's going to look exactly the same for your kids. And then their responses are going to show up right here in the Flipgrid, right? And I can show you what that would look like if you give me just a second here. Okay. So student responses will start to show up right here as we go down the list. I'm not going to go all the way down to keep my students privacy intact here, but they'll start to show up here. You can see it says responses 14, and the student responses will show up as you go down that list there. All right, so that is really how you create a group and how you create a topic. And those are the most important things when it comes to Flipgrid. Okay, so we'll go over just a couple more things here, but those are the big ones, groups and topics, and then the students can interact with each other. And as you see these 14 responses here, the students can watch each other's videos, and they do. And you know, you can see here it calculates here. I've got 3.1 hours of engagement on this Flipgrid. It calculates here how much time the students spend on Flipgrid. So they can watch each other's videos, they can leave responses. You as the teacher can leave video feedback, which is really great. If you click on student responses, there's a button there that allows you to create a video response. I'm not going to show you on mine here just because I want to keep my students' privacy intact here, but that is something that you can do. Maybe I can show you real quick here. We'll just do a real quick sample video here. I'm not going to actually share anything. Do a real quick sample. So this is what the students will do. They'll leave their little display name. And then that's a real quick sample video. So now I just clicked on my sample video here, but this would be a student in your classroom, and I can record a response to this video. So I, as the teacher, can record a response saying what I think about their response. Again, the big pink button kind of shows you, okay, click here. This is where you want to record that video, and that lets you jump right into that. All right, so we hit the big stuff. Okay, again, just a quick review here. The big stuff are the topics and the groups. Make a group for your classroom. Make a topic for each prompt that you want your class to answer. All right. Now let's look at some of the little things that you may want to play with, kind of, or you may need to know as we go. So one of the big things is a co-teacher. A lot of us have co-teachers, and you want to make sure that your co-teacher can be a part of this as well. So the way that you do this is you go to your group. Right now, again, when I say go to your group, I'm on my groups tab, and I'm going to go to the one I just made, 8th grade social studies, with those cool trees and clouds. And I'm going to add a co-pilot. And all you do here is you add your co-teacher's email address. Now, the only thing is they do need to be logged. They do need to have a Flipgrid account. Again, you'll see how easy it is if you haven't yet. It's just logging in with your Google account. Everything syncs right up. You don't have to create anything new. So when you invite your co-pilot, you just type in their email address and it'll send them an email invitation. So, pretty straightforward to do. The only thing is, like I said, just make sure that your co-teacher does have a Flipgrid account, or else it'll say, oh, no, we can't find this person. But as long as they have an account, as long as they've signed in at some point, they'll get an email and they'll be able to jump right in with you here. All right. Okay. So, let's see. Yeah. So again, that's pretty much it. With Flipgrid, if you want to see, we did this before, but if you want an easier way just to see what your students are going to see, if you click the join code here, view as student, join with Google. That takes you right to your group as a student. So you can see this is my group. Again, this is just so you know what your students are seeing. So the students will see your group and you. They'll see your prompts, and they can record a response. They can view other students' responses and interact with each other that way. Leave cool little emojis as feedback for them. Just a real quick sample. Add comments. So that is kind of the way that works. All right. Now there are a couple of cool things up top. I don't want to spend much time on these because these are the things that you can kind of play with as you get into it. But one of the cool new features that Flipgrid did just add this summer are shorts. And This basically just lets you create a quick video without having to set up a group or a topic. So if I wanted to create a video, if I wanted to record a video, it's going to look really similar to the way it did before. Um, I'll just record my quick little video here. Hey, welcome to Flipgrid. This is a super cool tool. And I'll click next. I'll do my selfie. You know that's my favorite part. Yeah, all right. I won't get into the emojis this time. And then I have my video. So what I can do with this short one now is I can share this with students without creating the whole thing. I've got my link right here. So if you're ever just needing to create a real quick video and you don't want to mess around with, going to Google Meet or playing with Screencastify, Flipgrid can solve that problem for you. It can make a really quick little video that you can share out with your students. I think it records up to 10 minutes. So, if you're giving instructions or whatever it may be, 10 minutes is a pretty long time for our students to sit and watch a video. So I think that should be plenty of time. But shorts is something that you may want to play with. All right. So that's all I really want to go over with Flipgrid with you here. I have provided as well a doc with some of the things that we talked about today for how to use Flipgrid. And if you have any questions about it or you want to try it out, but you're not quite sure where to start or how to use it, please feel free to get in touch with me. I'd be very, very, very happy to help. We hit discussion. Yeah, groups and topics are the two big things. And then you have kind of your extra pieces from there. But Flipgrid, they do a good job of just kind of pointing you in the direction of the important stuff. And then, if you want to build on it from there, you can. All right. So thank you so much for watching. Again, this is Flipgrid. Great, great, great tool. I strongly encourage you to try it out if you haven't yet. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out using my contact information. My name is Pete Morris. Thank you so much for watching.